We can start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I welcome all of you on in this inter-college debate competition. And first of all, to everyone, happy Women's Day. Though we need to celebrate women and their contribution, we need to and we do celebrate women and their contributions every day, every moment of our lives. We have some very enlightened teachers also with us right now, and at the institutional level also we try our best to inculcate such values among our students that they respect every individual, every person, without considering the gender that they belong to. So, on that note, the Women Development Center of Shamlal College, along with IQAC, has or taken this initiative of organizing an inter-college debate competition. This competition is the first that we are organizing from Women Development Center, and I hope that we can make it an annual event or maybe a semester-wise event. We have had an overwhelming response from students from different colleges of Delhi and even outside Delhi. So I'm very happy to see good participation in this competition, and we have good number of audience also among us. This event is not just going to be, this event is going to be a two-part event in which we have the debate competition right now, and then we'll be having our national webinar from 12:30 p.m. onwards, for which we have a very interesting panel with us. We have a resource person from academia, from media studies, and from the service sector or the government service sector. So the three speakers are going to deliberate upon the opportunities or challenges that women face in the professional world in present times. So, as far as this debate competition is concerned, I want to welcome all the teams who are participating in today's competition. And I hope all of you are familiar with the rules of the debate. I think Dr. Vivekanand can go over the rules once before we begin with the competition. For the competition, we have two very esteemed judges with us, Dr. Kavita Arora from Department of Commerce, Shamlal College, and we have Dr. Vivekanand Narattam, who is from Department of Political Science, Shamlal College. So they would be the judge for this debate competition. So I think our principal sir would also be joining us. So Vivek, I mean, we can start. So when he joins, maybe he can say a few words to the audience and to the participants. So over to you, Vivek. You can please apprise the participants of the rules once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here as one of the judges of the competition. Ma'am has already briefed you about the competition. At the outset, I extend my heartiest wishes on the Women's Day. Women's form a very important part of our life, starting from our childhood till even when we become young. We remain dependent in one way or the other on women in our life, in the form of a mother, in the form of sisters, and then if we are married, then in the form of wife. So they acquire a significant place in our lives. So to commemorate their role, their contributions in our life, internationally also we celebrate this day as Women's Day. So once again, wish you a very happy Women's Day. Uh, and talking about the competition, we have made it very simple. we would allow every team to every person. So every person who is presenting his or her views, that person would be speaking for 2 minutes. Based on that, so you can then, accordingly, I'm sure you have organized your entire presentation, entire debate as to how you want to go ahead. What we have done is we have placed 3 prizes: the best team first, best team second, and the best team third. So first, second, third prizes. Then we would also choose one of the best speakers. So as of now, we have kept 4 prizes, and based according, and if we have to recognize the presentation skills and the content of any presentation, then we may again add in one more prize in the form of consolation prize. So the 4 prizes: the best team one, second, and third, and the best speaker and the consolation prize. So 5 prizes would be there. You are supposed to be completing your entire debate, your presentation, in 2 minutes. Accordingly, you organize your entire debate. You don't extend 2 minutes. If you start extending 2 minutes, then there would be a diff. And if you do not complete, and if you still go on, then that would, sort of lead to negative marking. And therefore, I request all the participants to finish their entire debate presentation in 2 minutes itself. I think Kavita ma'am may also want to appraise you about this. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Vivekanand, and thanks a lot for your overwhelming wishes for this Women's Day. And I thank WDC, Dr. Kusha Tiwari, our principal sir, for organizing such a grand event to commemorate this, to celebrate this big day for the women community internationally. So I wish all the best. We have got very good number of participants for our debate competition. Overwhelming response has been received. So let's move ahead quickly. So I wish all the best to the participants. Dr. Vivekanand has already briefed you all about the rules, and you must have got them in your emails also. So best wishes once again. So I think we should not waste any further time and move ahead. Can we start?
Yes, ma'am, we should start now. So
please invite our first presenter.
Yes,
first
ma'am.
team.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, that whosoever is speaking, please keep your videos on. It would not be considered an appropriate participation if you don't keep your videos on. So please keep your videos on when you're speaking.
So now I would like to invite the first participant, Musharraf Pervez and Sobia Nabi. They would be presenting their views first. Musharraf Pervez and Sobia Nabi. So as I said, one of the participants would speak in favor of the motion, and one of them would be speaking against the motion. So it would be a team effort. So I'm sure you have organized your debate accordingly.
बेटा आप म्यूट पर है.
Please unmute yourself, beta. Musharraf. बच्चे unmute कर लीजिए. I request all other members, audience, ये Galaxy बच्चे आप अपना वीडियो ऑफ कर लीजिए, because it causes distraction and obstruction in the free flow of the streaming.
आ रही है आवाज क्या मैम?
हाँ अभी आवाज आ रही है. बिफोर यू स्टार्ट मुशर्रफ, मैं ये कहना चाह रहा था कि आप फेवर में बोल रहे हैं या अगेंस्ट में बोल रहे हैं, ये पहले क्लियर कर दें और अकॉर्डिंगली
एक सेकंड सर, एक हम लोग के साथ डिस्ट्रैक्शन आ गई सर. शोभिया जो थी ना सर, जिनका मैंने नाम लिया था, वो सर हॉस्पिटल में है, तो उनके जगह हम लोगों ने आदित्य को लाया है.
अच्छा ठीक, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक,
कोई बात नहीं सर. मैं पक्ष में बोलने जा रहा हूँ सर. आप मेरा टाइम सर. बोलूं
Your
सर?
time starts now. हाँ.
सबसे पहले तो सदन में मौजूद सारे शिक्षक गणों को और अतिथियों को मैं सलाम नमस्कार और सत श्री अकाल करता हूं। मैं मुशर्रफ परवेज सदन के विषय के पक्ष में बोलने।
बच्चे म्यूट पर हो गए आप, बेटा अनम्यूट कर लीजिए। मुशर्रफ, परवेज अनम्यूट कर लो बच्चे।
आ रही है आवाज मैम?
हाँ अब आ रही है, आपको दोबारा से शुरू करना पड़ेगा, हमने कुछ नहीं सुना आपका।
जी मैम, वहां मैं बार बार म्यूट हो जा रहा है मैम मेरा माइक।
ठीक है, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
मैं मुशर्रफ परवेज सदन में मौजूद तमाम शिक्षक गणों को और अतिथियों को सलाम नमस्कार और सत श्री अकाल करता हूं। मैं विषय के पक्ष में बोलने के लिए यहाँ उपस्थित हुआ हूं, लेकिन विषय के पक्ष को जानने से पहले ये जानना बेहद जरूरी है कि आखिर महिला सशक्तिकरण होता क्या है। जब हम इन बातों पर गौर करते हैं तब हमें समझ में आता है कि हमारी माएं, बहनें और बेटियां जो अपने जिंदगी का निर्णय लेती हैं वही महिला सशक्तिकरण कहलाता है। लेकिन सदन के विषय के पक्ष में महिला सशक्तिकरण विकासशील देशों में एक मिथ्या है। कैसे? इसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण हमारा भारत देश है, क्योंकि जिस सिंधु ताई को आज भारत सरकार ने पद्मश्री देने के लिए सम्मानित किया है, उन्हें कई साल अपने जिंदगी के शमशान में बिताने पड़े। छत्तीसगढ़ की फूलवासन जब अपने बच्चों के पेट को भरने के लिए घर से कदम निकाला तो उनके परिवार वालों ने उन्हें गांव से निकाल दिया। और जिस कल्पना सरोज की कंपनी कमानी ट्यूब से आज भारत सरकार हजार करोड़ों का टैक्स ले रही है, उन्हें इतना प्रताड़ित किया गया कि उन्होंने अपने जिंदगी मौत को ले लिया। एक तरफ संसद में बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी बचाओ की बात की जाती है और दूसरी तरफ हमारी बहनों के साथ हर रोज अत्याचार होता है। जिस कक्षा में हम और आप पढ़ते हैं, जरा सोचिए, क्या जितनी हमारी संख्या है उतनी हमारी बहनों की संख्या है? आए दिन समाचार पत्रों में हर रोज देखने को मिलता है कि कहीं ना कहीं किसी परिवार वालों ने अपने बहू को इसलिए मार दिया क्योंकि उसे दहेज नहीं मिला, या फिर इसलिए उसे इतना परेशान किया जाता है कि वो तंग आकर अपने जान की आहुति देने की सोच लेती है। और इसका जीता जागता उदाहरण हम लोगों ने कुछ दिन पहले देखा है। जिस अस्पताल के आगे लिखा होता है बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ की बात, वहीं सबसे ज्यादा भ्रूण हत्याएं की जाती है। अंततः मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा, सूर्यकांत त्रिपाठी निराला की 1935 की कविता है कि वह तोड़ती पत्थर देखा उसे मैंने इलाहाबाद के पथ पर। वह तोड़ती पत्थर ये साबित करता है कि आजादी से पहले अंग्रेज महिलाओं पर जुल्म ढाते थे और आज हमारे देश के लोग। अंततः मैं निष्कर्ष के रूप में यही कहना चाहूंगा कि महिला सशक्तिकरण विकासशील देशों में एक मिथ्या है। बहुत बहुत आभार।
Thank you, Musharraf.
Thank you
Now
so much,
I
sir.
invite another speaker. आदित्य, तुम म्यूट पर हो बेटा।
Hello, sir. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Bache, you're audible.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I am Aditya, the second participant of the team. And today's topic of the debate is women empowerment a myth in developing countries? And I am speaking against the motion. Women's empowerment is the most crucial point to be noted for the overall development of the country. Many developing countries are well known with this fact, therefore, they are accepting and including women in the country's decision-making process. To have women from oppressed powerlessness to positions of power, nations have opted to educate women. As surveys show that 80% of the women who are victims to child labor, child marriage, etc., are either uneducated or belong from uneducated backgrounds. In India, the government has introduced many major schemes to empower women on the basis of education, which are Sukanya Yojana, Balika Samriddhi Yojana, Dhana Lakshmi scheme, and many more. Female candidates are also getting women quota in many major government exams as well. Women's sports have been given major importance and has received better fundings from previous years. In 2017, Pratibha and Prachi were the first women drivers to inaugurate a metro ride. Smriti Irani is one of the most inspiring examples of women empowerment in India, not only in politics, but she was also seen breaking the taboo that women cannot participate in funerals. She not only participated in late Surendra Singh's funeral, but also offered shouldering to the plinth bearing the body. In developing countries, it is good to see how society is adapting more towards open culture with open minds, agreeing and understanding the importance of every member of the society, whether it is a girl or a boy. No matter what the conclusion of the debate would be, but we should always remember that the fight against global poverty starts by investing in women. Thank you.
Okay. So very good, Aditya. Before we invite our next participants, we would like to welcome our principal, sir, to this event. Sir, we heartily welcome you to this debate competition organized by Women Development Center of our college, led by Dr. Kusha Tiwari. Sir, the theme of the debate is very, very appropriate, and the organization of this debate competition is also very, very appropriate, looking into the today's occasion, that is International Women's Day. So, sir, please motivate our students by with your blessings.
Namaskar, Kavita ji.
Namaskar, sir.
Good morning to all of you. And first of all, I would like to congratulate all beautiful women and all the participants also. A very, very happy Women's Day to all of you. And it's a very good beginning has already been made. So I won't take much of time. Just my best wishes are there. I'm very happy to know that the Women Development Center of our college has come up with the idea of a debate competition also, and followed by a national conference. So this is a befitting to the spirit of International Women's Day. And I'm so happy. I just listening to two of the kids. They have presented their views, for and against the motion. And the way things are shaping, I think we have a very, very bright, prospect as far as women empowerment is concerned. And मैं रुचिका जी को भी देख पा रहा हूँ, कविता जी, कुशा जी, सब अपने फील्ड में इतना माहिर है, सब अपने कॉलेज में. Even if you take the Samlal as a unit also, I won't be hesitant to express it, and all the people also noticed it. So that's the kind of empowerment has come. So the way the nation is also progressing in that direction. So with these words, once again, I'm wishing all of you very best on International Women's Day, and best wishes to all the participants also. And may the best team wins. So thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words of encouragement and inspiration always. Sir, you have continuously been a source of inspiration for all of us, and always promoting the right cause for the students and for the community as well. So, sir, we are very thankful to you for joining us and motivating us in this initiative. Thank you.
So please stay for a photo. Ruchika, can you please take one group photo? I will request all the participants to please switch on their videos.
सर आपको थोड़ा सा पीछे होना पड़ेगा, आपका फेस कवर नहीं हो रहा है.
Neena madam, you are also there. मैं माफी चाहूंगा, आपको भी happy
नीलम,
one
Neelam?
senior most teacher. She's also
Yes,
very,
ma'am,
very
I'm
active
trying
in the college.
to. I'm just 1 second.
जग्गी अभी नजर आ रहे थे कहाँ? चलो ओके, नीलम को ऑन नहीं हो रहा है. हाँ हो गया. चलो ये श्यामलाल कॉलेज कौन है? गौरव ऑन कर लो. सेंटर में हो, खराब कर रहे हो फोटो. ओके स्माइल. 1 सीधा देख के स्माइल करेंगे सब. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Ruchika.
थैंक यू रुचिका मैडम.
मोस्ट वेलकम. इसके लिए कभी मना नहीं करूंगी.
Thanks a lot.
Now, may I request Nishtha and Shaurya Pratap Singh to start off with your debate. Nishtha or Shaurya Pratap Singh? Nishtha, next team, Nishtha और शौर्य प्रताप. आप शुरू करिए बेटा. निष्ठा, आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रही है?
सर दोनों बच्चे प्रेजेंट है, मैंने को होस्ट भी बना दिया है, तो पता नहीं क्यों नहीं बोल रहे हैं.
आपको अगर कुछ डिफिकल्टी है तो हम नेक्स्ट टीम को बुला लेते हैं. आप तब तक प्रेजेंटेशन अपना बनाकर रखिए. Adjust your phones accordingly, phones or devices.
Vivekanand, I think that's a good idea. Let's continue.
Next team, Rishali Mishra or Shreya Jha.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, beta, you are audible.
Shall I start?
Definitely. All the best.
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Myself Rishali Mishra from Zakir Hussain Delhi College Evening. With due respect to the opinion of each member here, I am here to present my view against the motion that women empowerment is a myth in developing countries. Is not a myth in developing countries. Women empowerment refers to political, social, cultural, and cognitive development of women that help them to take part in decision making and further participating in nation building. In recent past, there has been effort from countries to boost women empowerment, and we have witnessed some great changes in this regard, leading to emancipation of women. For example, in India, 78 women got elected in 17th Lok Sabha, that is highest ever. If we see the political dimension, some can be seen in participation at local self-governance level, that is lead role in governance and bureaucracy. Next, we will see the economic dimension, that some of them seen in participation at self-help groups. There is increase in female workforce that give them a new identity and dignity, and the gender busting has been enhanced in developing countries to ensure the amenities to the women, and the per capita income of women has seen a rise continuously. If we will see the social dimension, they have enhanced the societal position of the women. They are no longer subordinated with men. They take part in decision making for the home and as well for the society. And they are no longer treated as slave. They are no longer kept as slave and treated as commodity. There is increase in literacy level and the gross enrollment ratio in schools. They take decisions regarding their life, and in the end, I want to conclude by saying that we have witnessed that in developing countries, the women empowerment is not a myth; it's a reality, and we can see the example of the IIM chief economist Geeta Gopinathan, and there are 5 female scientists in Mission Mangalyaan. They know what is right and what is wrong to do in their life, and they have breaking shackles to excel at par with men in every sector of the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishali. Next participant Rishali के साथ जो श्रेया आप शुरू करिए बेटा.
Good morning to one and all present over here. My name is Shreya Jha. Today, I'm here to present my views for the motion, women empowerment is a myth in developing countries. The term empowerment holds a different meaning to different people. Women empowerment can be defined as promoting women's sense of self-worth and their ability to determine their own choices. People often tend to believe that educating the girl child, letting women do jobs, and reserving 33% of seats in Lok Sabha and other state legislative assemblies would make women empowered. But is women empowerment possible by only 33% of reservation? I don't think so. The condition of women are not favorable in developing countries, An unskilled and semi-literate woman is exploited everywhere and have no right to take her own decision. Even today, lots of girls are married at a very young age and are denied of their basic right of higher education. The dowry system is still prevalent in backward states like Bihar. The society is not very safe for its female citizens. Women today, a lot of women step out of their homes for jobs, but 1/4 of women are exploited in the workplace. The incidents of rape and torture always find their place in newspaper every day, raising a question that how can women be empowered when they are not even safe in their own countries? The women have always been suppressed, underestimated, and valued less, not just in the society, but also in their very own families. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying that women have enough merit, that they do not need the crutches of reservation to move forward. All they need is empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Next team, Nishtha or Shaurya Pratap Singh, are you ready with your presentation? Nishtha?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, so you may start now, beta.
Sir, may I keep my video closed, sir, because at this side there is some kind of a network issue. So I made out that if I open my video, then it could lead to a network issue, severe network issue.
Okay,
thank you so much, sir. Good morning, sir. May I start?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Good morning to esteemed panel of judges. Today, House believes women empowerment is a myth, and I am here to speak against the motion. First of all, we need to understand what women empowerment actually is. Women empowerment is a force which is not directly related to the domestic violence or violence against women. It has nothing to do directly with women empowerment. Women empowerment can be defined to promote women's sense of self-worth, their ability to determine their own choice, and their right to influence social changes for themselves as well as others who live in that very society. And over here, I will not specifically talking about our own country, which is of course India, but also about some other developing nations as topic suggests. According other developing nations include Yemen, Afghanistan, and Azerbaijan. And here we talks about, first of all, we talk about our own country. According to annual census of 1980, the parliamentary share of women in India was less than 12.68%, and the women educational ratio was 28% for women. But let's see what happens after the establishment of National Commission for Women Welfare, which was set up by an act of parliament in 1990. The women parliamentary share grows up to 58.66%, which is a significant rise. As well as if we see to women educational share, it comes to 59.3% for women education. And now these facts which I mentioned above completely support my logic that after taking initiative to empower women by government, we have seen tremendous growth of women in various sectors. And today we also have 108 women politicians in Lok Sabha alone. So you can imagine that women empowerment really exists. And now let's talk about other countries like Azerbaijan and Afghanistan, where once women were not even allowed to see the face of educational institute. But after the combined effort of UNESCO, UN, and G49, G49 in 2010, the final result came in 2018 when Afghanistan provides surface to women also. And the female literacy rate in Afghanistan became 39.81%, which proves that women empowerment exists. And here I completely established the fact that women empowerment exists and prove itself time to time. If we take initiative to empower women, then it is possible. And we does not need to confuse women empowerment with any kind of reservation or domestic violence. These are the acts. These are not a force. An act can depend. A force cannot depend on an act, but act can depend on a force. So here I prove my point that women empowerment still exists in our world, and it grows on if we take an initiative. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Shaurya Pratap. Nishtha?
Yes, sir.
You start with your debate, beta.
easier to celebrate women than to be one. I'm speaking against the motion that it is a myth that women empowerment is a myth in a developing country. We are expecting women to take permission for everything that a man is allowed to do freely. Don't we say that we let her what she wants to do, let her marry the man of her choice? Why do we always need to let her? Why aren't we brought up with the thought that everyone is a human and have equal rights? Why do we have to fight for the same things that man isn't supposed to ask for? Why can't a woman be? Because she wants to be. Why are we celebrating letting her do? This is what we are calling women empowerment. Do we really know what exactly empowerment means? Most probably no. We think empowering women means letting her be financially independent. But no, I personally don't think that it is enough. Empowering women is a mindset where you just need to acknowledge empowerment, which means empowering your child regardlessly gender. Women are not made of star parts or pixie dust. They are just born with human parts just as him. Women are worthy of celebration because they exist in the rawest, the natural way women are women. And what you must celebrate is the very existence that the human women so fearlessly are. The day we won't have to say why me and why not him will be the day when women is in our country will actually be empowered. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishtha. The next team now, it's Saurabh Kumar Singh or Ajay Gupta. Saurabh or Ajay?
Yes, sir. Sir, is my video visible?
Yes, you are visible. Yeah.
So, sir, a very warm good morning to all the judges and the respected teachers and all the students present here. I, Saurabh Kumar Singh, along with Ajay Kumar Gupta, is present here to be a part of this debate, that is women empowerment, a myth in developing nations. So I'll be speaking for the motions that women empowerment is a myth in developing nations. But before diving deeper, let's see what women empowerment actually means. It means developing women as a more aware individual, making them politically active, economically productive, and allowing them to make the independent choices. We live in a country where girls are killed right before they are born. Some are killed after they are born. If they survive all this, they are handed over a list, for the do's and don'ts that they had to carry throughout their life. When it comes to education, they are not allowed to pursue their career. They are not, allowed to. They are not given free choices. So how we can say that there is, empowerment in our country? How we can say she is truly empowered? When we look at marriage, it is a very important part of our life. If we look at marriage, then the very brutal truth of our patriarchal society comes out. Dowry. Dowry is one of the main reasons why the sons are preferred more in this society, and hence the increased cases of, female infanticide and feticide. I recently came to a very shocking data that, South Delhi is one of the regions where a female feticide is higher in our country. So how we can say that the women are empowered? When it comes to marriage, woman's self or persona takes a backward seat. She is not allowed, she is not have her, she loses her individuality, her sexuality, her reproductive choices are not her own. It totally depends on her husband. So how we can say that she is empowered? If we look at the political participation, India was one of the few countries that granted its women the right to vote back in 1947. But if we look today, only 14.4% of the female constitute the Indian Parliament, 23% just in the cabinet. A law was passed back in 1996 by Gowda government, giving the women for allowing them 33% of seats. But it is not yet passed in Lok Sabha. So what empowerment are we talking about? If we look at economic side, we talk about several laws, fundamental duties, DPSPs that talk about equality, equal wages, maternity relief. But in practice, there is a huge gap between these policies and the actual implementation of these policies. Only 25% of women compared to 82%. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure. So if we look at the safety, nearly 87 rape cases are rarely, found in India. So how we can say that there is a woman empowerment? We live in a very complex society where we worship women on one hand while we rape them, suppress them, and abuse them on the other. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ajay Gupta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Should I start, sir?
Yes, start now.
So I extend my warm wishes and good morning to everybody present over here. Women empowerment is a myth. It is a notion that has been created by some Western political thinker like James Mill to strengthen their hold over India. It is literally not a myth. Let me burst that. As much as my colleague has been so much convinced with the fact that women empowerment is really a myth, let me burst that bubble and should talk about that it is not a myth, it is a reality. Because because people think that we Indians and developing countries people consider and enslave the women in a cell of orthodoxical thinking, but that's not true. Let me talk about that. So let me talk about some data according to the NSSO. Let me talk about economic conditions of the women. According to the NSSO, women's participation in agriculture and its sector allies is 73%. Women's participation in service sector is 62%. Women's participation in manufacturing sector is more than 25%. 10 of the India's most prestigious MNCs and occupations are led by women. So how can you say that women empowerment is a myth? Since empowerment is a word which is multidimensional, I would not stop my voice by saying that women are only economically strengthened. They are socio-culturally also strengthened. For example, India's 30% cultural societies are led up by the women. Besides it, our government extended its full support from the time immemorial to strengthen the women's empowerment. For example, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan, Ujjwala Yojana, prevention of trafficking and social rescue system, Swadhar Grah, Nari Shakti Puruskar, Mahila Samman Nidhi, Mahila Police Volunteer, Nirbhaya, and I would require literally a dawn to come over all the schemes. And let me tell you the surprising fact. Some of the people here talk about the education. Let me talk about the education. 94.32% of women have took the education in the elementary education system. 82% women took the admission in secondary education, and 60% women have taken the education in higher secondary education system. So let me tell you the secret, man, that this system is much more comparatively higher than the education that has been taken by the boys. So here the reality lies. And some of the very orthodoxical countries like Saudi Arabia had also extend their support to empower the women. They have given the right from diving to driving. You can imagine. So in my opinion, it is a myth. It is not a myth. It is a reality. It is only the fact that we cannot see. We should wipe our eyes and should see the reality. If this had been the myth, if the women empowerment has been the myth, we would have not been debated it here. We would have been given the speeches and written the essays over it. Since we are debating it, since we are debating empowerment, it means that there is something known as empowerment of the women. Thank you and have a nice day. I stop my work here.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you. Now, may I invite Jagriti Gupta and Navya Srivastava. You start with your debate, beta. Jagriti.
Sir, am I visible and audible?
Yes, Navya.
May I start, sir?
Yes, beta.
Human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights, once and for all. Said rightly by Hillary Clinton. Good morning, this is Navya Srivastava, and I strongly support the motion. Women in Hindu mythology have always been associated with Shakti, which means power. It grieves my heart to say that today we have come to a point where we have to discuss about women empowerment. My fellow participants have already explained well about women empowerment. Therefore, moving on, I would like to ask you a few questions. Is permitting a woman to study empowering her? A good job, equal pay, self-identity, aren't all these concepts for every human living? Of course, men and women aren't equal. God has made us differently. For instance, you would give a shaving cream to a man, but to a woman, you would give a sanitary napkin or something else. Now, that's what the point is. Our requirements might be different, but are both necessary. So providing us with what we already deserve isn't empowering us. Bill Gates says that chickens are small animals kept close to home, so they are particularly suited for empowering women. Okay, so you give us wings to fly, but not the sky. By breaking all the barriers that restrict them, women across the world have emerged as inspirations. Mary Kom, Shejma Rushdie from Iran, Malala Yousafzai, who hasn't heard these names? But before women empowerment takes the role which reservation and feminism have acquired today, let's provide women with the rights they are already entitled to. For instance, if I go on to say that I'm an open-minded person and I empower men because I allow my husband to work, would that sound right? Therefore, the men who think that they are very supportive because they let their wives work should go back to primary school and restart their education. At the end, I would like to leave you with a few questions to ponder upon. Is providing women with basic amenities like sanitization, health, education, jobs, not the rights they already deserve, and shouldn't it be normalized instead of putting it under the category of women empowerment? If not, then in a so-called equal society, why isn't there a term like men empowerment? Thank you.
Thank you, Beta. Now, Jagriti, you start with your debate, Beta.
So am I audible and visible?
Yes, yes.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Jagriti Gupta, and I'm going to speak against the motion. There's no tool for development as effective as empowerment. No doubt we have came a lot far, but let's talk about that section of society that still struggles to accomplish basic human rights. In a developing country like India, there's a huge section of women that are unaware of their rights. We hear news of some percent of girls not allowed for education. Then we hear news of some percentage of girls raped and died. If survived, you are the shame to the nation. Hypocrisy. You will work for hours and face wage discrimination. You don't get promotion even after being deserving. And if you get one, you face comments of being involved in giving a favor. Slow claps. We need empowerment because a section of females still don't have access to basic necessities of living. There are women who still don't know what is menstrual hygiene. Women involvement in labor force of New Zealand is 62%. But in our country, in India, it's 27% involvement. This calls for a thought. More than 40 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights said everyone has the right to education. But despite notable efforts by countries, we still have 2/3 of female population illiterate. Domestic violence, rapes, etc. are alarmingly increasing day by day. Why? Because we are afraid to speak up. Wage difference because gender is downright unfair and sexist. Thus, we see how women empowerment is the need of the hour. We need to empower these women to speak up for themselves and never be a victim of injustice. Our country has 48% of female population. 88 rape cases get reported daily. Isn't it shameful? 86% of women experience domestic violence and do not speak up. According to one study, 71% of the adults and girls are unaware of menstruation until they get it themselves. Now, I would like to end up with one question to each one of you, introspect. Don't we need empowerment for women in such a country where we have such a situation? Thank you.
Thank you, Jagriti. But the problem with your team is we have organized in a way that one of you would be speaking in favor of the motion and one of you would be speaking against the motion. So you both spoke in favor of the motion.
Sir, in the beginning of my speech, I said I'm strongly supporting the motion, and beginning of Jagriti's speech, she said she's against the motion.
Against the motion, but then she did not speak against the motion. Against the motion means what?
That
Against
women
the motion, the
empowerment is
myth,
not a myth.
that's not myth, that's a reality. But she
Yes.
spoke about the myth, and that is where you bungled. You were supposed to be having this team coordination. It can't be like this. Your presentation was good, but then since you did not understand the concept, you stand, you have made a mistake. Anyways, your presentations were good, but you did not understand the concept itself, the concept of the debate. Initially itself we have, and then the rules of the debate are that when you are a team, we are judging you as a team. So one of you would be speaking in favor of the motion and one of you would be speaking against the motion. So if I'm against the motion, I'm still speaking the content which is favoring the motion, then that doesn't constitute the debate. We haven't understood what we are talking about. Anyways, now I would invite the next speaker, Jagriti and Navya are done. Then Yogesh Kumar and Ananta Praveen. Yogesh Kumar and Ananta Praveen. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, but actually
Yes,
I am participating with Yash.
Yash, but I have Ananta Praveen. So you have changed your teammate?
No, Anant, please go on. He's right.
All
Okay.
right, okay. No, not to worry. If two of you are there, one of you would be speaking in favor of the motion, and one
No,
of you.
in the list it is written Yogesh and Anant only.
Yeah, okay.
But we can, yes, Ananta and Yogesh. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay,
Can I
beta, go
start?
ahead.
Okay.
So we're starting Anant. Okay, Anant.
I'm starting. Good morning, jury and fellow debaters. My name is Anant Praveen, and today I'm going to speak for the motion, Women Empowerment is a Myth in Developing Countries. I like to start by stating a quote, which I really like. A woman is the full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform, by Diana Marichak. So, gender equality is first and foremost a human right. A woman is entitled to live in dignity and freedom. Empowering women is also an indispensable tool for advancing development and reducing poverty, which is an important thing in developing countries. Empowered women contribute to the health and productivity of whole families and communities and improve prospects for the next generation. Discrimination against women, including gender-based violence, economic discrimination, reproductive health inequities, and harmful traditional practices, remain the most pervasive and persistent form of inequality in developing countries. Women are facing threats to their lives, health, and well-being as a result of being overburdened with work and of the lack of power and influence. There are approximately 960 million illiterate adults in the world, of whom two-thirds are women. That's more than one-third of the world's adults. Most of them women have no access to printed knowledge, to new skills, and to new technologies that would improve the quality of their lives and help them shape and adapt to social and economic changes. Also, violence and safety is a major threat to women in society. Domestic violence, rapes, etc. are alarmingly increasing day by day, more so because women are afraid to speak up. Thus, we see how women empowerment is a need of the hour. In famous cases like the Hathras case in the UP and Supreme Court judgments like recently, Chief Justice of India asked an abuser, asked the victim if she'll marry the abuser. Or recently, there was a case in which there was a domestic violence case between of a wife and husband, and the judge was like, you can't state that as rape. So let's move on. In the light of many ongoing NGO initiatives, which many famous NGOs are doing a lot of initiatives to promote women empowerment, of course, but a clear vision emerges from them, a vision of the empowerment of each deserving one. Even though a new age woman is far more empowered, but her progress skids to a halt when cases of violence or any unprecedented regressive evil emerges. Thank you.
Thank you, Anant. Anant, to the benefit of Anant and to the benefit of all the participants, when you are citing some examples, verify the veracity of that example. Was it a Chief Justice of India?
Yes,
to
sir.
ask the abuser?
Yes.
Let me clarify that. So Chief Justice of India cannot ask the abuser to marry. That cannot happen.
No, sir.
One cannot do that.
I know, sir. I said actually I first said abuser, but then I corrected my sentence. I said he asked the victim if she'll marry the abuser.
When was that? When was that?
Sir, I'll have to once Google the proper date.
No, you're very wrong. You're very wrong. It wasn't the Chief Justice of India. It was in some district court or some lower courts. It wasn't at the highest level. So you cannot cite this kind of example. When you're citing the examples like constitutional bodies like Supreme Court of India, you don't bungle something. You don't just blabber out something that comes in your mind. Have some respect for this highest institution. You cannot speak anything.
So which which news article will you find legit?
I will confirm and I will tell you. That's not
Okay,
for sure.
so for
the Chief
example,
Justice of India cannot say this.
For example,
okay,
BBC.
all right, now stop it. We are going to start with Yogesh.
Okay, so
Okay,
thank you.
so
Alright.
am I audible and visible both?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start on tap of 3. 1, 2, 3. So it is sad that if a girl is educated, starts earning on money, and starts to live on home, she is empowered. With that said, good morning, honorable judges and my fellows. I'm Yogesh Kumar here in front of you, opposing the belief that women empowerment is a myth in the developing countries. Before moving ahead, this word empowerment, when it amalgamate with the word women, do mean to give women the rights. Women can have equal rights to participate in education, society, economy, and the politics. Let's consider the most prominent and populous country here, the India. In here, women are now leading a happier life than before. They don't compromise if the marriage doesn't turn out well. They are becoming self-independent and their health is better as compared to the earlier decades. Women now entering into the job market in increasing numbers. They are showing their skills even in the non-traditional sectors like police, defense, administration, media, and research fields. Today, women are emerging as leaders in growing range of fields, be it aeronautics, medicine, space, engineering, law, politics, anything. Like Indra Nooyi, the president CEO of PepsiCo, Medha Patkar, famous environmental activist. Just go on and the list never ends. You just name the profession and they are there. Steps been taken by the government to empower the women, such as the Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, to make the credits available to the women and others. Look at Nirmala Sitharaman. She was the first female defense minister, now the finance minister. And the women resolution bill being proposed was a great pave to this cause, which need the execution today. In countries like Pakistan, other Islamic states, which has been, they had the Benazir Bhutto as a prominent leader, and later in the contemporary time, they had Malala Yousafzai, who stood against the so-called orthodox, and today she is the Nobel Award receiver. Like learned people all around do say, in the developing countries, many women suffer from the discrimination and violence, like basic healthcare, walk too many hours, and face humiliation and physical abuse. But is it the only case with the developing countries? Absolutely not. We can witness such cases in the developed countries too. And the low salaries, basic healthcare, and the humiliation are not so rare with the men too in the developing countries, like the El Salvador. So this has nothing to do with the women empowerment. Consider the Sweden. It is a developed country. In fact, Sweden is considered to be one of the most highly developed post-industrial society in the world. According to the IMF, Sweden has a gross domestic product per capita of $46,420 as of 2016. But still, it stands on the 6th position of the highest rape capitals today. So in a nutshell, I would like to conclude that though women empowerment is not at peak right now, but the same thing goes with the developed nations too. And the remaining cases where women are considered as the lower than men just need more evaluation. Then either it's in developed countries or developing, doesn't matter. All the developed countries or the developing has the immense progress in for this. So I rest my points here. Thank you.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you. Now, we would like to go ahead with Kaushal and Amartya. Wait for some time, beta. Kaushal and Amartya.
So am I visible?
Yeah, okay. Amartya and Kaushal. Yes, yes, Amartya. You may start now.
Yeah.
So on your video, because we want to see your faces based on your gestures also, we will try to understand what you're speaking. The gestures play important role also in your entire presentation.
Yes, sir. Am I visible and audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Respected judges and friends, I'm Amartya Sen. I stand here to speak.
Amartya, your video is not on.
I think my video is on, sir.
Okay. Okay, now you are visible. Yeah.
Respected judges.
Okay, start it. Start. Your video has disappeared, but okay, you can start now. Okay.
Respected judges and friends, I am Amartya Sen. I stand here to speak for the motion of the House. Women empowerment is indeed a myth in developing countries. The phrase feminization of poverty was coined by an American sociologist, Diana Pierce, in 1978 to refer to the condition where women were affected by poverty more than men. A 1992 report found that the number of rural women living in poverty in the developing countries has increased to a whopping 565 million, 374 million in Asia alone, and 129 million in sub-Saharan Africa. United Nations Development Fund for Women describes it as a burden of poverty borne by women, especially in developing countries. The United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, as does much of the literature on the subject, defines feminization of poverty as a condition wherein the change in poverty levels is biased against women or female-headed households vis-a-vis their male counterparts. Feminization of poverty has become a growing concern globally. United Nations Development Program states that 70% of the poor across the world are women. According to the Platform for Action adopted in the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing in September 1995, more than 1 billion people in the world today, the great majority of whom are women, live in unacceptable conditions of poverty, mostly in developing countries. Several forms of violence against women are common in developing countries than the developed ones, from dowry-related crimes to bride burning, from acid attacks to honor killings, from forced marriage to marriage by abduction to women trafficking, be it Middle East or South Asia or Southeast Asia. These incidents are part and parcel of everyday news. In countries where basic security is not available to common women, how can you conclude that women empowerment is not a myth? In countries where equal pay for equal work isn't universally prevalent and approx 87% of the work that women do are unpaid or unrecognized, how can you not say that women empowerment is a myth? According to UN Women Facts and Figures on Ending Violence Against Women, it is estimated that 35% of women worldwide have experienced either physical or sexual violence by intimate partners or sexual violence by a non-partner. This is, of course, not including sexual harassment at some point in their lives. Report shows that a sizable number of women who had experienced sexual violence runs at the higher risk of depression or acquiring HIV.
Amartya, your time is up.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
The next one from your team now.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes, Kaushal, yes.
Good morning to all of you. My name is Kaushal Kishore, and today I am going to speak against this motion. First of all, I would like to explain you the meaning of women empowerment. Women empowerment can be defined, women can be defined to promoting a sense of self-worth and their ability to make their own choice and their rights to influence the social change for themselves and others. If we talk about developing countries are the countries with low gross domestic product of per capita and heavily rely on agricultural sectors as a primary industries. Due to paucity of time, I will be cementing my arguments in Indian context only. If we talk about in Indian context, before independence, women were not getting the equal rights as men. But after independence, it did continue, but now they are treated equally as men and have all the rights as men. They can take an active part in the society and they support the governing body and they are the backbone of their family as well. In the era of 21st century, women are moving shoulder to shoulder with men. And they are no more in the veil nowadays. They are acquiring the top positions in the country and not only in the country, but as well as abroad and making their strong presence in the field like, politics, defense professionals, businesswomen, sports, acting, and so on. We have some examples like Indira Gandhi, first woman Prime Minister of India, Kalpana Chawla, Mary Kom, and so on. These women worked their life to do something great and exceptional. They did an amazing job by setting an example for every woman around the world, and not only the women, but for men who want to achieve greatness in their life. In conclusion, I strongly believe that women empowerment is a reality in developing nations like India. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushal. Now, may I invite Anish Kumar Dwivedi and Anushka Tiwari. You may start with your debate now, beta.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
एक्चुअली सर ये नेटवर्क सर लाइट का इश्यू है थोड़ा, तो चलेगा ये लाइट जो
नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं। आप हम आपको देख पा रहे हैं, हम आपको देख पा रहे हैं।
थैंक यू सर। नमस्कार सर, कैन आई स्टार्ट?
यस अनिश, स्टार्ट इट नाउ।
ओके, थैंक यू सर। नमस्कार, मैं अनिश कुमार द्विवेदी, श्यामलाल कॉलेज का छात्र। विषय महिला सशक्तिकरण विकासशील राष्ट्रों में एक मिथक एक अपुरजोर तरीके से समर्थन करता हूँ। मुझसे पहले आए बहुत से वक्ताओं ने महिला सशक्तिकरण के शब्द को महिला सशक्तिकरण को अच्छे से परिभाषित किया, लेकिन मित्रों, जिससे आप लोग महिला सशक्तिकरण कह रहे हैं, क्या वो सच में महिला सशक्तिकरण है? नहीं मित्रों, ये महिलाओं के साथ सहानुभूति रखना है, क्योंकि अगर हम महिलाओं को सशक्त बनाएंगे तो हम उन पे भरोसा दिखाएंगे, हम उनके फैसले उनके लिए लेना खुद उन पे छोड़ देंगे। लेकिन मित्रों, मैं आपके सामने कुछ ऐसे आंकड़े प्रस्तुत करूंगा इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी और वर्ल्ड कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी, जो ये शो करेंगे कि हम महिलाओं के साथ सहानुभूति रख रहे हैं, हम उन्हें सशक्त नहीं बना रहे हैं। तो मेरे हिसाब से जो महिला सशक्तिकरण का डेफिनेशन होना चाहिए वो होना चाहिए हमारे समाज में महिलाओं के लिए जितने भी पूर्वाग्रह हैं उन्हें हम मानसिक तौर पे भी खत्म करें। सिर्फ महिलाओं को समाज में भागीदारी ना बढ़ाएं, बल्कि मानसिक तौर पे भी हम उन पूर्वाग्रहों से छुटकारा पाएं। मित्रों, अब मैं एक पिछले दिनों भारत में हुए घटनाक्रम पे आप सबका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूँ। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में महिला सेना में महिलाओं के अस्थायी कमीशन की मांग पे सरकार ने अपना दलील दिया था, और उस दलील में सरकार ने जो बातें कही वो निश्चित रूप से चौंकाने वाली थी, क्योंकि सरकार ने कहा था महिलाओं की शारीरिक स्थिति तथा उनका पारिवारिक दायित्व उन्हें सेना में कमांडिंग अफसर बनाने में बाधक है। मित्रों, ये स्टेटमेंट ये शो करता है कि सरकार भी महिलाओं के मामले में पूर्वाग्रह से ग्रसित है, और सरकार की इस बयान को ध्यान में रखते हुए हम कैसे कह सकते हैं कि आज हमारे समाज में महिला सशक्तिकरण एक मिथक नहीं है। दूसरा आंकड़ा मैं जो वर्ल्ड कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पेश करता हूं वो यूएनडीपी, यूनाइटेड नेशंस डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम का आंकड़ा है, तो जो 2020 में विश्व में महिलाओं की स्थिति को इस डाटा को तैयार किया गया था। मित्रों, उस डेटा में यह स्पष्ट